The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Oh shit! It's Vince Russo!
Vince McMahon's best kept secret.
I am the Antichrist of professional wrestling.
David Arquette won the world title.
I've got a wife, 3 kids at home, and I really don't need this shit.
How can this show be so awful, Mr. McMahon? I didn't think it was.
Viagra on a pole match.
And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass.
Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
McMahon, the family, The Rock, they screwed us all.
Now you're the editor, right?
Mankind did it! Jumpy, beat. Goldberg steered Russo out of the cage.
I'm from New York.
I'll get downright nasty.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody. I'm Vince Russo, and welcome to a special edition of The Brand. And let me tell you a little bit about The Brand. This show has been endorsed by my good friend Eric Bischoff, who basically listened to the show and stated that every time you hear The Brand, you will lose 0.7% of your IQ. So I want to thank Eric very much for that endorsement. And it's relevant that I bring up his name tonight because tonight, Jeff, this show is a lot about Eric Bischoff. No, I'm not going to badmouth Eric. I'm not going to dog Eric. I'm going to talk about the first show I did with Eric at WCW, April 10th, 2000. And Jeff, I think it's safe to say, bro, I haven't dogged Eric. I haven't said anything about Eric. The only time I do is when I'm forced to defend myself. You know, when he goes on the JBL show and I'm not there to defend myself. When he goes on Table for Three and I'm not there to defend myself. That's the only time I ever say anything about the guy. I don't throw the barbs, bro. I don't start the freaking fights with anybody. You know, I just tweeted something. I'm watching this show, and I'm enjoying the crap out of this show. And I basically made the statement that I'm watching this show, and it really sucks, bro, that 20 years later, there's such bad blood between me and Eric Bischoff. 20 years later, Jeff Jarrett doesn't talk to me anymore. When Jeff Jarrett got back in charge of TNA, he didn't call his old pal Vince Russo. And, you know, that really, really sucks. But on the other side of the coin, bro, I can sit here and tell you it ain't me. Like, I'm not the one with the freaking issue, bro. You know, Eric buries me on all these shows. I don't freaking say anything. Jeff thinks for whatever reason I buried him to Dixie Carter. Never had a conversation with me about it. And when I watch a show like this and the way everybody, you know, got together and delivered such a great show, it really makes me feel bad. I don't want to be at freaking odds with these guys, bro. Like I really don't. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's childish. I think it's stupid. But it happens, bro, because it's professional wrestling, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. It can't be a one-way street. It's got to be a two-way freaking street.
Yeah, you can't force somebody to let bygones be bygones if they don't want to.
Right,
it
exactly.
Seems like, you know, a lot of people, they take pleasure in publicly burying you for whatever reason. So I don't know, you know, that's what they choose to do. That's their choice, but it's sad.
Yeah, I had a laugh when, you know, Jeff Jarrett at the beginning of the show cut a little bit of a shoot promo. And one of the things he says was, what goes around comes around. And it's like, you know what, bro, listen to your own freaking words. You know, honestly, bro, listen to your own words. What goes around comes around, which I might add is, you know, part of the reason that the Predators choked with a minute and a half left in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. But that's another show for another time. Jeff, I got to give a little background of the events leading up to this show so people understand my mindset going in, you know, where I was at the time. That's very, very important in telling the story. And Jeff, I think it all starts with when, you know, I was being interviewed for the job at WCW. Okay, bro. And they were in a desperate situation because WWE, I mean, we were pounding them in the ratings, bro. You know, Eric had been, you know, I won't even say fired. Eric had been let go. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't even know who was doing creative at the time, bro. There was some kind of a committee or who knows what. As I've stated in the past, you know, Vince McMahon made a comment to me that, you know, I should hire a nanny to watch my kids so I wouldn't have to worry about my own kids. That triggered me to get in touch with WCW. When I met with them, bro, I made it clear to them, and I told them over and over and over and over again, the product is broken. We have to tear down the foundation and rebuild the house. You're not going to get ratings overnight. I made that clear as day to them. I said, with my experience at WWE, it does not happen that way. It's going to take some time. Now, bro, you got to remember the person in charge of WCW at the time was an accountant by the name of Bill Bush. Nicest guy in the world, Jeff, but knew nothing about wrestling. So when I got into WCW, Ed and I, we put our game plan into place. And one of the main things we knew we had to do, bro, was we knew we had to elevate the mid-card. As soon as we started elevating the mid-card, bro, the veterans did not like this because the veterans thought they were going to lose their spot. If they lose their spot, they lose money, yada, 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 yada. So, of course, those veterans, you know, got in the ear of WCW management, you know, Bill Bush. Okay. Next thing I know, bro, like, you know, we're not even 3 months in, and I have an accountant second guessing everything I'm doing. So, and I know, bro, he's not intelligent enough about wrestling to know the product and know why I'm doing. So I know people are in his ear. And when people get in your ear, bro, and you start questioning me, that's going to piss me off because it's like, you know, bro, put on your big boy pants and have an opinion yourself. You know, don't, because what this guy Bill Bush was doing, an accountant, bro, was he was letting the boys work him. That's what he was doing. So it got to the point, bro, where I was being second guessed about everything, Jeff, and I was really starting to get pissed off, right? Jeff, I swear to you, one day, I don't know what freaking triggered it, but I got on the phone with my attorney, and I said to my attorney, I said, bro, whatever you have to do, get me out of this. I made a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. I don't care about the money. You know, just get me out of this. I'm willing to leave the money on the table to get out of this. I've got to get out of this deal. I swear to you, Jeff, the minute I hung up the phone, I got a call from Bill Bush. And Bill Bush said to me, oh, yeah, come down to the office. You know, their office was in Smyrna. You know, Hogan and Flair are here. You know, they want to talk creative with you. Okay, bro? Bro, I don't know what it was, but I knew Hogan and Flair wasn't there. I knew that they weren't there because I kind of knew like this accountant, Bill Bush, had no freaking balls. So, bro, I go down to Smyrna, and he calls me in his office. There's no Hogan. There's no Flair. And, bro, the guy is as white as a freaking ghost. Okay? So I hope you get a little picture, Jeff, of how the wrestling business is. Rather than just call me and say, Vince, we need to have a talk. No, bro, Hogan and Flair are here to talk creative with you. And I'm sure somebody told him to say that. You know what I'm saying? But that's how the wrestling business is. He couldn't just say, Vince, you need to come down to Smyrna. Me and you need to sit down and talk. So, you know, he lied to me from the get-go. So, bro, I'm sitting in his office. The guy's as white as a freaking ghost. So I'm sitting there. Keep in mind, bro, I just got off the phone with my attorney. And he looks at me and he says, Vince, we've decided to go in another direction. You are no longer going to be in charge of creative. you are going to be part of a committee. Bro, I'm sitting there and I can't believe the words he's saying to me, because I'm saying to myself, I was just on the phone with my lawyer, 30 minutes ago, telling him I was willing to leave the money on the table to get out of my contract. This guy is breaching my freaking contract. I was hired as head creative of WCW, not part of a committee, and I had a 2-year contract. So, bro, he went on white as a ghost, trembling at the voice, and I let him go. And I said, when he was done, cool, calm, and collectly, I said, Bill, with all due respect, I said, I'm not interested in being a part of any committee. I have a contract that clearly states I am the head of creative. So basically at this point, you need to decide how you're going to pay me for the rest of my contract. And I got up and I freaking left. Okay, bro? So I never heard anything from them. I think the next TV is when Benoit, Malenko, and all those guys left. You know what I mean? And, I think Kevin Sullivan was put in charge of TV. Now, bro, keep in mind, the last Nitro before Ed and I started was a 2.5. Ed and I had it up to a 3.5. And now, bro, with Kevin Sullivan at the helm, it was down to a 2.5 all over again in 3 months. In 3 months.
When he's having this conversation with you, Bill Bush, do the ratings even come up? Because, how could he legitimately have this make sense when the ratings went up? You know what I mean? What was that?
Oh, yeah. I think at some point I said, why are you going in another direction if the ratings are going up? And there was no answer to that. I think I did ask him that at some point, Jeff.
Yeah. But you know what's weird, and this is just another strange coincidence in life. The last Nitro that you and Ed wrote that week before this happened, I was there. Me and my buddy Big Guy were there. I'll never forget it because it was the day after the Music City Miracle when the Tennessee Titans beat the Bills on that kickoff and the throwback pass, because Jeff Jarrett came out that night wearing a Tennessee Titans jersey in Buffalo. Yeah. So, yeah, I was at that show, man, and it was just a weird coincidence. But, yeah, the pay-per-view was that weekend, and then Benoit and all them left right after that.
So, Jeff, listen to how this stuff works, just so you understand. So now, Jeff, at this point, I'm being honest with you here, but I'm just shooting straight with you. At this point, I swear to you, Jeff, I'm sitting at home, not doing anything, not in contact with anybody, but, bro, every 2 weeks, I'm at my mailbox just praying that check comes. And every freaking 2 weeks, the check came. Because, bro, all I cared about at that point was getting paid. I did not care if I ever wrote another Nitro again. I did not care, bro. But I knew I had a contract. I knew they breached that contract. I knew I had 2 years. I knew I moved my family to Atlanta. And I knew I just want to get my paycheck every 2 weeks. Okay? So, bro, this is how just effed up things are in the wrestling business. Finally, after 3 months, I get a call from Brad Siegel. Okay, bro? And I'll never forget, Brad Siegel says to me, Vince, I want you to meet somebody for lunch. And I'll never forget, bro, because the restaurant is not in business anymore in Atlanta. I wanted to go to a restaurant. The name of it was Hops, Hopps. And I want you to meet somebody this time on this day. Bro, he never said who I was supposed to meet. I knew who I was meeting because I knew Brad Siegel was very, very, very tight with Eric Bischoff.
Explain the job description difference between Siegel and Bush.
Siegel was in charge of TBS and TNT. He was the head guy of the whole network. Bill Bush was just put in charge of WCW wrestling. Okay. I mean, Siegel's in charge of the freaking network, bro. So I know he's got me meeting Eric Bischoff. Now, bro, understand this from day one. I was largely responsible to Eric Bischoff losing his job at WCW. When the ratings flipped and all of a sudden Eric's still spending the same amount of money, but now there's no payoff for WCW because they're not getting the same ratings, he was relieved of his duties. Of course, you can connect that towards me, bro, because that happened when I started writing WWE TV. To make matters worse, they then hire me for that job. So now Brad Siegel wants me to meet with this guy. Now, Jeff, again, all I'm caring about is I don't want to breach the contract. So, like, I can't tell Brad, no, I don't want to meet with this guy. I have to play along. Okay? So, bro, I go to this restaurant, and, bro, listen to how effed up this is. There's no Brad Siegel. It's just me and Eric Bischoff, bro. Like, think about that for a minute, Jeff. There's no Brad Siegel. So I'm sitting across from the guy who's not only did I cost him his job, but WCW replaced me with him. I also, bro, had one phone call with Eric, years before when Jeff Jarrett and Kevin Nash hooked me up with him. I had one phone conversation with him, and he was the most smug, egotistical person I had ever spoken to on the phone, in person. It did not leave a good taste in my mouth. Now, bro, I'm sitting across from this guy, no Brad Siegel. So now he's telling me that Brad Siegel wants him and I to work together. Now, bro, the pecking order and the structure is never made clear to me. It's never even mentioned, bro. It's never even mentioned because, bro, I think they were very afraid of breaching my contract. My contract said that I was head of creative. So you can't, you're not going to tell me Eric Bischoff's my boss because I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say, no, I got a contract that says I'm head of creative. So the roles were never established. Okay, bro? So now, in secret, for about a month or so, I don't even remember how long it was, Eric Bischoff and I, behind the scenes, start working on this show. Now, bro, here's the thing that sucks. Here's, bro, remember how like the Spike executives, wrote that thing about me and the guy that I didn't even know. Well, bro, that's real simple. And I stated this freaking years ago. That's because when Dixie made Eric the executive producer of Spike TV, the first thing Eric did was run to the executives of Spike and bury me to them. That's the first thing he did. So, bro, right off the bat here, Eric and I would go over the show creatively, and then Eric would go back to Brad Siegel and present the show. Not me, Eric. And, bro, like, come on, man. Like, I know how this works. I freaking get it. He's buddies with Brad Siegel. I took his job. He's not going to put me freaking over to Brad Siegel. So we work on this show. And, bro, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I don't know who came up with what. I'm not going to say I came up with this and I wrote this whole show and this and that. I'm not going to say that at all. We both worked on this show together.
Explain that. Like, explain how that process worked. How did you guys, write the show? How did that work?
Bro, we just met up at a hotel a couple of nights. I mean, really, like, I think we had a couple of weeks to work on the first show. The first show we worked on together. And I think we had a couple of weeks to do it, and we met a couple of times. And basically, I mean, we worked on the first show, together, as a unit. Yeah,
because, I mean, this was weird. Like, before we get into this, like, there was a pay-per-view that week, too. Like, how did that figure into these plans? You know what I mean? Was that extra pressure? Did it not matter? Was it just a third show?
That
you know
wasn't important, bro. Wasn't important. I mean, it was all about getting those TV ratings back up. You know, that's why, like, everybody always says to me, "Oh yeah, when Vince Russo was at WCW, the pay-per-view ratings were down." Well, they weren't concerned about the pay-per-view ratings, bro. They were concerned with getting the numbers back up on television. If you would have gotten the numbers back up on television, the pay-per-view buys would have followed. I got paid to get the ratings back up. So, you know, the pay-per-views at that time were basically secondary to rebuilding. So now we work on this show. Now it's April 10th, 2000, Denver, Colorado. How ironic is that? Bro, opening up this show alone, Jeff, just listen to the excitement in Tony's voice. Just listen to Tony Schiavone sell this show at the top of the show. He's freaking excited about it. He's making you think this is must-see TV. History is going to be made. If you don't watch this show, you're going to miss something very, very, very important. I don't think any WWE shows open that way these days, bro. I really don't. It's music. A guy comes out and cuts a promo.
Yeah, and you notice the high pitch. Like, usually announcers are excited, their voice goes up a little higher pitch, and you can hear that with, you know, Scott Hudson and Mark Madden and Schiavone every episode. And then today it's like golf commentators. You know, there's no excitement in the voice.
And, bro, that's another thing, too. I never made the decision when I was working with Eric that I'm going to put myself on TV. Like, that decision did not come from me. We discussed that, and together we thought it was a good idea. And that's why we wound up doing it. But, bro, if Vince Russo wanted to be on TV, I would have been on TV from day one. You know, as a matter of fact, bro, the powers that be angle was Kevin Sullivan's idea, and he was ripping off Steinbrenner at Seinfeld at the time. Like, that wasn't even my idea. That came from Kevin Sullivan because of the Steinbrenner gimmick. So the bottom line is, I didn't go there and say, okay, I'm going to put myself on TV now. That was never in the freaking cards. I was the writer of the show. That's what my freaking contract was. But as we discussed this first show and as we put it together, you know, we both thought it was a good idea. Bro, I remember being so nervous backstage, bro. I remember, like, you know, the dry mouth, bro. You got freaking dry mouth. This was the first time, bro, I was ever on live TV. Bro, I had done some stuff, you know, as Vic Venom on Live Wire and stuff like that. But, bro, honestly, this is the first time in front of a crowd with a microphone. Bro, I did not rehearse a single line, Jeff. Not a line, not a single line. I mean, that first time is how I always did all my freaking promos. I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to say what I feel. So everything that I said, none of it was rehearsed. You know, bro, all the talent in the ring, bro, look at the talent that was in the ring. You know, and think about what talent you'd fill a WWE ring with today. I mean, just the talent in that ring was absolutely unbelievable from the beginning. There was a lot of shooting going on, bro, on this show. Jeff Jarrett started off, you know, shooting, you know, with the what goes around comes around, because at this point, Kevin Sullivan and J.J. Dillon is sitting at home now because, you know, they were the ones that were a part of bringing me down. So now I'm back, and now they're the ones sitting home watching me. So, bro,
what was the deal with that? Like, for you and Eric to come back, who made that call? Okay, these guys they're going home.
Probably Eric told Brad Siegel. Because, I mean, it didn't come from me. I didn't take a stand like that or anything like that. If these guys don't go home, I'm not doing it. I didn't do anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, everything, bro. The Good Old Boy Network, you know, then Eric I'm just right, bro. When Eric comes out and he's cutting a hell of a promo, you know, it's so real. It's so real. The situation, everything going on is so real. And I'm looking at this and I'm just saying to myself, you know, what happened? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, how did we go from something that was so real and so electric, and the boys had so much material to sink their teeth into? Is it half shoot? Is it half a work? Is it real? Is it not? I mean, what happened? Why is everybody so afraid today?
I don't know. It's like you just watch this, and especially like with Eric saying some of the stuff he said to the legends, you know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, bro,
Sid with the scissors and
right.
you know, and all that stuff. It was just that you could feel the tension, like you could feel it. There was heat.
Yeah. See, bro, here's the thing. I never watched this before, Jeff. And like, bro, I keep going, like, my mind is so messed up because it's like, you know, there are times where, like, you know, I mean, you know, bro, let's be realistic, Vince. Like, you never in a million years, there is no opportunity in a million years. This is what goes through my head, bro. I'm just being honest with you now. And when I watch this, it makes it clearer to me. There's no opportunity in a million years of me ever going back to the WWE. For whatever reason, bro, I've burned the bridge. You know, I've burned the bridge. I'm being blackballed. Everybody's gone back there but me. Bro, I think it has a lot to do with when Chyna came on my show. And I think it had a lot to do when she made the allegations about Triple H hitting her. I think that had a lot to do with it because Terry Taylor told me Triple H got very upset by that, you know, because him and Stephanie have kids the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, Terry, I didn't say that. I didn't know what happened between Triple H and Joe. I wasn't there. She came on my show and she said that. I didn't say that. And, you know, Terry said to me at that point, well, why didn't you edit it? And I said, Terry, I don't edit my guests. You know, if people come on my show and rip me, I'm not going to edit that out. I'm not going to edit what anybody says. So, bro, I think that was I think I severed the relationship having Chyna on my show and her saying that. So realistically, bro, I know in my mind there's never an opportunity to go back there. Okay, bro? Bro, regardless of what that hillbilly from Louisville says, okay? It's not a money issue, Jeff. Jeff, listen, bro, I'm not rich, but I saved my money. As long as I can pay my bills, and I can pay my bills with the podcasting we do, I'm fine, bro. Like, I'm fine. So it's not wanting to go back for six figures. It's not that, okay? I know damn well I would not want to go on the road again. I would not want to be on the road every single week. Bro, me and my wife, I haven't worked full-time in 6 years. I spend every day together with my wife. We get up every morning. We go walking together. I spend every day with her, bro. I really enjoy it. I'm not going to go work for a wrestling company and leave my wife by herself. Like, those days are gone. But here's the thing, bro. This is what it's all about, Jeff. When I watch a show like this, you know what it is?
What?
I want it to be that good again.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is in me. I want it to be that good again. I just want it to be that good again. It's not wanting to go back to the WWE. It's not the money. It's none of that. It's I go back and I watch how damn freaking good these shows were. And I want it to be good again. That's what it is.
I'm already getting comments from some of our listeners that, you know, were watching this in advance of this show and they were watching for the first time. And they're tweeting me, you know, the show's great. They love it. They'd never seen it before. I don't know if a lot of people today don't know that wrestling could be this good. You know what I mean? That it could be this entertaining.
Yeah. And that's the thing, bro. People with the I killed WCW and my work at WCW sucked. I mean, bro, come on, bro. Put this up against any freaking Raw in the last 10 years. I mean, come on, bro. Like, who are we freaking kidding, bro? Obviously, either you've never seen this show or you forgot what was on this show. Because, you know, bro, here's the thing, and you talk about this all the time, Jeff. The one thing about this show is, bro, you really feel like these guys are fighting. You really feel like these new guys want to take over. You really feel like the older guys are fighting for their jobs. You feel that, bro. There's real freaking emotion. It's not a series of choreographed freaking dives to the outside of the ring. There is a story here, and you feel now with Kidman and Shane Douglas and Vampiro and all these guys, it's like finally our opportunity. Now we're going to seize our freaking opportunity. And, you know, bro, we've set the agenda. We're going to put the old guys out to pasture, and they're fighting for their lives. You feel all that in this 2 hours, bro.
You can feel it just looking at Sid's face in this opening promo. Luger's face. It was just, you know, they knew how to sell it, and you felt like that this was really happening to these people. You know, when Flair comes out later, and we'll get into his promo, and absolutely insane. I mean, there was so much story on this show. Like, I had the note that, I mean, because I knew I wanted to keep track of this going in. Without commercials, there was 103 minutes of programming, and only 20 minutes of it was in-ring wrestling. There was 5 matches. The longest match was 6 minutes. So of 103 minutes, 83 of it was non-wrestling.
Right. And what else did you notice too, Jeff? Not one single match through a break.
Yep.
Not one.
Yep.
Jeff, one thing I wrote about here, though, is in that first segment, I kind of did feel like we buried Sting. I mean, Sid.
Well, I mean, it made sense. Like, why? Because he just handed the title over?
Yeah, I kind of feel like.
But Eric explained it. Go ahead, beat me up, and you won't have a job. I mean, I didn't get that feeling. I thought that the way Eric spelled it out, it's like, you have no choice if you want to work here anymore. I mean, what's he going to do? Punch him and then he loses his job?
Yeah.
You know?
But, yeah.
Well, do you remember the thought process? Like, let's clear all the titles? You know,
bro,
what I mean?
I really think that was Eric's idea. I do. Bro, it's hard for me to remember details back that far, but I really think it was his idea to strip the titles off of everybody. I think that was his idea. And I was fine with that. I mean, I'm not passing heat. I thought that was a fine idea. So bro, now we find out we got a mini tournament, and we're setting the legends against each other. You know, first you got, what was the first match, bro? Page and Luger.
Right.
And then the second match is going to be Sting and
Sid,
and the winners of those matches will face each other. The winner of that will face Jeff Jarrett for the title at the next pay-per-view. So here, Paige comes out. I love the way, bro, Paige comes out, Lex comes out. I love the way we kill their music and the pyro. I thought that was incredible. And then, of course, Buff comes down, and he's got the whole entrance, pyro and everything right smack in the middle of the match.
This has nothing to do with the show, but is Kimberly not like one of the most beautiful women ever in wrestling? Like, unbelievable. Smoking hot.
Beautiful. Smoking hot, bro. So Buff comes down. He gets involved. DDP gets over with the diamond cutter. I mean, bro, the first seg 2, we've set the table. We're screwing with the Millionaires Club. We're totally effing with these guys. The young guys are now going to have, but bro, you know that 30 minutes in, we made it so big and so huge that 30 minutes in, you're like, okay, this is going to be the storyline going forward.
When you're laying this out, you know, in the production meeting with all this stuff, okay, the music has to cut here, the pyro has to cut here. Like, are you ever nervous that something that's not going to go right, you know, on a live show?
Yeah, bro, like when you worked for the WWE, like you never worried about any of that stuff. You know, when you worked for WCW, you worried about it a little bit. When you worked for TNA, it was 50-50. I mean, that's a shoot, bro. You did not know. You just did not know what you were going to get, you know?
But yeah, we got the first Hogan there was a lot of Hogan pre-tapes. on this show.
Hogan shows
a lot of them. Yep.
And then you come back with me and Curt Hennig, who, there was a little history between us. I tell him he has a shot against Jarrett. If he could beat Jarrett, then he'll be competing for the heavyweight title. Then we have Tank Abbott, who calls out Goldberg. Bro, I didn't remember anything that was coming. The attack on Mark Madden was freaking beautiful.
So, I'm watching this, and knowing you, I'm like, somebody told him to rip his shirt off. Like,
absolutely.
Madden didn't know it was coming. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, without a doubt, bro. Absolutely.
Because, he made it a point, like, out of nowhere just to make sure that shirt came off.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, dude, they ribbed him so bad on that one.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then now there was someone, me and Jeff. See how I'm following this all up now? Like, Jeff is approaching me like, what the F are you doing, bro? You nuts? Everything gets followed up with a pre-tape in the back. Now Tori and Billy are unhappy. Hogan's looking for Bischoff. Now Hogan and Bischoff, we come back. They have a little secret meeting. Now Kidman cuts a shoot promo on Hogan, bro, because Hogan did bury him in an interview online. All this was 100% shoot. That's where we got the freaking idea. Billy calls Hogan out. Hulk comes out. Hulk and Kidman get into it. Bischoff hits Hogan with a chair. Bro, did you see how Hogan blatantly bladed? Like, blatantly. Like, I can't even believe they replayed it, bro.
That was the worst part. They replayed it with the angle that clearly was the worst one to show. I thought the verbiage in Kidman's promo was outstanding. Like, nobody drawing flies would know about drawing flies with a piece of S like you. I hope your balls are as big as your bald spot. You've been in the spotlight too long. Like, all that stuff was gret. Man,
but bro, there was a there really was, bro, a big issue in these legends not wanting to put over the younger guys. It was an absolute shoot, and it was twofold, bro. It was twofold. I'll tell you why. First of all, I know a lot of legends didn't feel like the guys earned it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was still old school back then, bro. You're looking 17 years ago. In Hogan's eyes, really, it was like, who did Billy Kidman ever beat? Honestly, bro. And in Sting's eyes, who did Vampiro ever beat? On down the line. So what was going on was twofold, bro. Number one, they didn't feel that these guys earned that spot. And number two, bro, they really did feel like they were being pushed out of their spot. So, Hogan, bro, at the end of the day, did not want to put Kidman over. And it wasn't just Hogan, bro. This happened. And I think when you go through this show, like, you'll see it. These guys they really didn't want to put these younger guys over. And that really turned into a big problem going forward with this angle.
This angle right here, this is always what's brought up to me by a lot of our listeners. Anytime you and me start talking about small people in wrestling and unbelievable, they're always like, well, what about Kidman versus Hogan? That's the one that's always brought up, Kidman versus Hogan, because the size difference is ridiculous. But if you look at the way the physicality is booked, like, not just on this show, for the entire program, Kidman never got one up on Hogan unless he had help. You know what I mean? When it was straight up one-on-one, Hogan beat his ass, like, constantly. Kidman needed somebody to help him, like here Bischoff with the chair. It was always something else. So it was never like we're sitting there and Kidman and Hogan are punching toe-to-toe and it looked ridiculous. I thought the physicality was booked, it made sense, you know what I mean, in that type of situation.
And, bro, I also love, as silly as this sounds, I love the fact, bro, Hogan wore white because he knew he was going to blade. And he knows the blood's going to show up on the white. That's why he wore white. Bro, guys today wouldn't even think about that. Like, if they bladed, like, they would blade wearing a black T-shirt. Like, they don't even understand things like that. And, bro, obviously Hogan took the blood and put it on his shirt. When he's walking around the back, you could see it. But, that's a pro, man. That's, I'm good at blade. The blood's going to show up best on white. That's, wasn't by chance he was wearing a white shirt. Then Flair's watching on the monitor, catching up. Flair cuts a promo. Bro, let me tell you something. I don't remember things from way back when, but I can tell you this as a matter of fact. Nobody told freaking Scott Steiner to put the pair of false teeth in. Like, bro, that was 100% Scott Steiner because, bro, as they shoot, Scott Steiner did not like Ric Flair. And everybody knows that, and he cut an infamous promo on him earlier. So, Scott went out, found the teeth, bro. The whole freaking 9 yards. Because, again, bro, that's what we were having here. A lot of these guys really did not like each other, which leads us to, bro, and I got to give credit to this. Shane Douglas really did not like Ric Flair. He really didn't like the guy. But, bro, at the end of the day, when they worked together, they did business, bro. They understood. If we can really take our dislike for each other in front of the cameras and freaking work it, we will make money. And there was Shane and there was Rick selling for each other through the entire show, even though there was some personal differences.
Yeah, and with Steiner, and I think you even mentioned it in your promo when he sort of talked about it here, like he did get suspended for something he said in a promo. Right. But here he says Flair tried to get him fired. Like, do you remember, was that a shoot or was that
I think that was because of the promo.
Yeah. As for Douglas, do you remember? There's so many rumors about this, and I don't know what's true and what's not, but there was a rumor out there that he was supposed to go with the other four to WWF, and they kind of left him out.
They screwed Shane big time, bro. They screwed him. They did all that behind his back. I mean, bro, when that was going on, like he was calling them, they weren't returning his freaking call. Bro, Shane Douglas isn't an idiot, so he knew what was going on. I mean, he was well aware of what was going on. And yeah, bro, they all went up there. They all met with Vince without him because, bro, like Shane was up at the WWE as Dean Douglas. And I really liked Shane back then. I worked with Shane. I don't know what the probably had big heat with like Scott Hall and like, I don't even know what the heat was. But when those guys were going to WWE, they knew that Vince wasn't going to want Shane Douglas. So they did all that stuff behind his back. They didn't answer his phone calls. It was real shit, bro. It was really shit. I think very, very highly of Shane Douglas. And, bro, listen, Shane will be the first guy to tell you he's had his demons, bro. He's had some, abuse issues, I'm talking, prescription medication. But he's gotten past all that. Bro, the guy was always a stand-up guy to me. I always thought he was a pro. I always thought he was a gentleman. I was always a big fan of Shane Douglas. But, yeah, bro, they definitely screwed him.
Yeah, and then we got Kevin Nash arriving on crutches, and I think he was legitimately injured. I don't remember.
I think so, too, yeah.
Then we come back. Brett in the crowd. That was interesting.
But, bro, do you see the hook? You see what I'm saying? Kevin shows up. What's Bret Hart doing in the crowd? And if you notice, bro, during this whole match, Tony is talking about stuff happening backstage. We got that's all hooking the audience, bro. That's why you do. They don't care about that stuff today, bro. They don't even make a freaking attempt at it anymore. And I don't understand why. That's why, like I even said, like Vince, don't even let me write your freaking show. Let me freaking structure it for you, because you don't know how to hook them going into a commercial break and how to come hot, out of a commercial. You don't know how to structure the freaking show. Listen to the announcers, bro. This whole show is structured that way.
Well, and look at every single thing that we have talked about so far in this show is all continuing on as we go on throughout the show. It's not one and done with any of this stuff. Today, it would have been, okay, we got those two guys. All right, we're not going to see them for the rest of the night. What's next? Throw them out there. They have their match. We're not going to see them for the rest of the night. But there's more Hogan and Kidman coming. There's more Flair and Douglas coming. We still got this little mini tournament coming on. There's more Kevin Nash coming. So all this stuff is continuing throughout the entire show, telling a story that's gone.
It's gone. And again, Here's my question. I don't care about social media. I don't care it's a different time. I don't care about evolution. Why did we stop telling stories? Why? Where did we get research that says people don't want stories on television shows? Where did that research come from, bro?
You got me.
Mean Gene talks to Shane Douglas. Now we have Sting and Sid. We see another new blood come out. The Wall, who's no longer with us, could have been another great talent. Sting goes over in the match. Scott and Tony are still hooking everybody with what's going on in the back. Now Flair is on his way out to the ring, and Hogan is still going nuts in the back as we go to commercial break.
Every legend, there's somebody from the new blood that's like targeting them. Buff is going after Luger. Wall is going after Sid. Later on, Vampiro is going after Sting. Kidman's going after Hogan. Yep. It's like you see these things developing like, all right, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why is it, who's sending these guys out here? Is this Vince and Eric doing this? You know what I mean? So it's like everybody has a target and everybody has a role to play, and that's one way you get people to care about certain individuals is what they're doing important, or are they just another body?
I don't know how anybody who calls themselves a freaking wrestling fan can compare to that. Keep in mind, bro, I'm the guy that killed WCW. Shows like this killed WCW compared to the crap you see on Monday night today. Like, are you freaking high, bro? Like you can't even compare these freaking shows, Jeff. You can't even compare them, man.
No, but you get excited watching this stuff again. You get excited about wrestling. They're fun to watch. The show goes by fast. You don't want to fast forward anything.
Yep.
And then you sit down with today's product a lot of the times, and it's you just can't wait for it to end.
Yep. And that's why I say I know that's the root of why I still entertain the idea, because I just want it to be this good again. I really do, bro. Like I want it to be this freaking good. And now we are going to pick it up with the second half of the show. So where shall we begin?
Yeah, before we start, I did have a quick question for you based on the last episode. You had mentioned, several times the reason why you wanted to leave WWE to go to WCW was because you were told to get a nanny. You make enough money to get a nanny. You wanted, family was more important to you. You decided to, look to WCW, see if there was an opportunity there. Like, what is the exact process? Like, how does that happen? How are you writing for WWE? How do you get in touch with the important people at WCW?
A friend of mine at WWE at the time, and I don't want to mention his name, it's many years later, but I still don't want to stooge him off. A friend of mine was very good friends with J.J. Dillon. So I buzzed a friend of mine who was still working at the WWE, and I basically said, I want to talk to J.J. Dillon. Can you contact him? Bro, I don't remember if I called J.J. I'm sure I called J.J. because the way the environment was back then, JJ didn't know whether or not I was on the contract with the WWE, which I was not. So he wouldn't have wanted to tamper or anything. So I'm sure this buddy of mine gave me JJ's number and I called JJ directly. That's how it worked.
Yeah. And this would be a good question for Ed, but do you know why Ed, did he just want to go with you, keep the team together, or did he have his own specific reasons for wanting to go to WCW?
Well, bro, I went by myself. I went by myself. I met with WCW by myself. When I was there the first night, they wanted the meetings to go into a next day. I had to stay overnight and whatnot. I didn't plan on doing that, bro. I thought I was going to be in and out. But the day I was there, I pitched Ed Ferrara. And they basically said to me, can you stay overnight and can you get Ed here tomorrow? So like that was never the original plan until I got there. I pitched Ed. Then I called Ed. I said, bro, they want you to fly in tomorrow. Can you make it? And then Ed came in, for the rest of the meetings.
Now you've talked about how Vince McMahon was always, calling you 24 hours a day. Like, how did you keep this from everybody? Was he not trying to talk to you about, the coming week?
Oh, bro, it happened so quick, bro. It happened so quick, bro. I think I went out there on a Friday and they kept me over on Saturday. So, bro, this happened over a weekend. I mean, this happened really, really fast. But, bro, let me make one thing perfectly clear. I knew once I crossed that line, and I knew just with me contacting the WCW, I knew it was over. Like, I knew that was it. Once I crossed that line, I knew I was going to WCW. But, bro, this entire process happened over a weekend.
That's nuts, man. And like what in that meeting with Vince, what would he have had to say for this to not even happen? You've talked about it before, and I don't know if you want to rehash it for people, but you went into the office, you told him, you weren't seeing your family enough. He told you to, you can afford a nanny or whatever. What would he had said that you wouldn't have even thought about contacting WCW?
Bro, I just wanted my wife to be able to move closer to her family. That's all I wanted. I wanted her to be able to. It wouldn't have affected my job. Bro, I was basically saying to him, bro, I'll just see my wife on weekends. I was basically saying that to him. If he would have said, okay, I don't think it would have gone any further. But the fact that he told me, I don't see what the problem is, get a nanny to watch your kids, that was it. Like, it's that simple, bro. And that's why, bro, so many people ask me, because of everything that happened at WCW, do I look back and regret leaving? Not at all, bro. Not at all. I don't regret leaving because of what he said to me. I think I did the right thing. I would do the same thing freaking tomorrow. I didn't regret it for a second. Well, let's pick it up, bro. What was next on the show?
Well, we left off with Sting versus Sid in the mini tournament match where Sid was counted out. Sting got the victory. So at this point, Ric Flair comes out again for his second in-ring promo, and he's fired up. This is after Shane Douglas has attacked him, and he calls out Shane Douglas here. Like, if you just look at the intensity in Flair's eyes and you listen to his voice, I mean, if somebody's watching this, it's very hard to not suspend your disbelief and to not believe that this guy's pissed off. Like, it's unbelievable, Ric Flair's performance on this show, in my opinion.
Bro, go back to any of the promos on yesterday's Raw show. Okay, I'm just trying to think of some of them. Go back to the Hardys having another shot at the tag team titles. Go back to Cesaro and Sheamus defending the tag team titles. Go to Samoa Joe talking about Brock. Those are three interviews that really, really come to mind. Were any bro on a scale of 1 to 10, Flair was a 10 and these guys were a 1. I mean, it was nowhere near the freaking intensity. And again, bro, that's where I go back to, okay, it's a different time. Okay, it's a different time, so nobody can have any intensity. Nobody can cut a promo strong enough to actually have you care about what they're saying. Freaking Flair's eyes were popping out of his freaking head, bro. Head. When he cut this promo. Look, again, put that promo up against any promo on yesterday's show. Any promo, bro. Come on.
So what is it? You're dealing with arguably the greatest talker in the history of professional wrestling in Ric Flair. So when you're like preparing him for what he's got to do out there, what is the process with that?
Bro, I'm not preparing Ric Flair. I'm telling Ric Flair where we are in the storylines. I'm reminding him, okay, Rick, this just happened. Now you're going back out there. That's it, bro. I'm not giving Rick a promo. I'm not writing anything for Rick. I'm just refreshing his memory. Okay, Rick, here's where your character is at this point in the story. That's it, bro. It's that simple. He takes it from there.
So after that, he calls him out for later in the night. Then we still see Hulk Hogan destroying stuff backstage, including Shane Helms and Shannon Moore. These Hogan pre-tapes, there were so many of them, and it carried the storyline throughout the show. Like, when you have so many of these, and so many of them are after he had to, bleed in the ring, when are these shot post his in-ring segment?
They were shot in succession, bro. They were shot at one time, probably. So after he blades and he goes back and the blood is fresh and it's on his shirt, we probably shot all of them and then broke them up and put them back in the show where they needed to be, because we wanted to make sure the blood was fresh. It didn't dry, so, like I said, there were quite a few of them, bro. We probably shot them in one continuous scene and then chopped it up and just put them back in. That's what we probably did.
So next we had a Ready to Rumble premiere, which obviously you weren't with the company when the movie was made and all that jazz. But when you guys are sitting down to
bro, hold the phone. This is one of the things that never gets discussed. Okay. When I and Ed started writing television there, we were working around guys that could not be on the show because they were shooting the movie. So when we first started writing there and we got our roster, we were dealing with guys coming in and out because they were shooting that Ready to Rumble movie. So, we in other words, bro, we weren't able to book 100% the show that we wanted because some of the players were just not available to us.
So when you're sitting down to write this show, I'm guessing TNT comes to you and says, listen, we have to put in this 60-second Ready to Rumble thing or whatever it is. Like, you get all this stuff ahead of time and, do you pick where it goes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we find the spot we put in the spot. Yep.
Next was Jeff Jarrett versus Curt Hennig. And the stipulation was you had told Curt if he beats Jeff Jarrett, he takes his spot in the Spring Stampede Heavyweight Championship match. We get the debut with Shawn Stasiak here, and he comes out to Mr. Perfect's WWF music. And, we don't know what he's doing yet, but it's obvious that for some reason he's going for Curt Hennig. I thought the finish was weird. I felt like they called an audible because I don't know if you saw this or not, but when Stasiak hit his move on Hennig, it was kind of sloppy. And then Jarrett went to pin Hennig, and then Hennig kind of got him out of the pin, and then they went into another move, and Jarrett hit the stroke and then pinned it. I don't know if you got that impression or not, but it looked like,
bro, because Stasiak messed up. No doubt about it, bro. He messed up. And, bro, it's funny because I'm going back and I'm watching this, and, bro, like a lot of you can see it. A lot of these veterans are just having problems putting these young guys over, and like I said, bro, a lot of that was an old school respect thing that they had to earn it. And I get it. I mean, I totally 100% get and respect that mentality. But it's almost, you could see it. Like you can see it, bro. What is happening here, a lot of this is a shoot. I'm sure Hennig was freaking PO'd in the back that Stasiak screwed that up, and probably thinking, what was effing Russo and Bischoff thinking, putting that mark in the ring with me? I get it. And a lot of that was real, and you could see a lot of it, bro.
Back then, a guy like Stasiak, who his father was a big star in the business, does that work against him in the locker room? Or, you know what I mean? How do the veterans react to somebody's son who comes in? Do they treat him any differently? Is there higher expectations?
It does work against him, bro, because the guy coming in that spot, he doesn't want it to appear like anything's getting handed to him. So he's probably working twice as hard, and he's probably trying too hard because there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders of who his father was. People think I'm going to get the red carpet treatment. I got to prove myself to these guys. I got to make a name for myself and not ride on my father's coattails. Bro, I dealt with a lot of people, obviously, David Flair, Eric Watts, in this case, Shawn Stasiak. I dealt with a lot of guys in that position. That's a very, very tough position to be in, bro.
So we get a quick shot of Kevin Nash on the phone, and then we have Mean Gene with Sting. What was it like working with Mean Gene?
Bro, again, these were freaking pros. Like, these were guys, you didn't have to tell them what to do. You didn't have to tell them what to say. They've been doing it for so long, bro. They could have done it in their sleep. Mean Gene was the kind of guy, like, you could have given him that 15 seconds before he had to do it, and that would have been enough time. So, again, bro, just the professional, just great at what he did. And again, look at the intensity in Sting cutting this promo, bro. That's why he's Sting, bro. That's why a Finn Balor promo is a Finn Balor promo, bro, because he's Finn Balor. That's why, bro. That's the difference between these guys.
So next is the Flair versus Douglas, and you get involved here and you get physical with Flair, whip on him with a bat. Then Shane starts hitting him with the bat. You do the crotch chops and you steal Rick's watch. So thoughts on this? You remember this and what went into this?
Yeah, a couple of things, bro. First of all, let me tell you that the baseball bat was always very, very, very stiff, hard rubber. That's what it was. It wasn't a baseball bat, but it was hard rubber. Bro, I laid it in every time. Like, I laid it in every time because I didn't. Bro, when I was in the ring with a Ric Flair and a Shane Douglas, here was the most important thing to me. This was all I cared about. I didn't care about Vince Russo. It wasn't about me. I never wanted these guys to look bad. The last thing I want to do, bro, is make Ric Flair look bad. So a lot of the times, bro, I tried to make it as real as possible. I laid those bat shots in, bro. But I also remember, like, later on, like, receipts came for this stuff, bro. I could remember freaking Flair chopping me until I wanted to cry, bro. Like, it hurt that freaking bad. But again, my whole intent was I did not want to make him look bad. I'm not going to make it look like a pansy-ass bat shot. Ric Flair is a man. Ric Flair is an athlete. He's going to be able to take it. And that's the way I covered it. I swear to you, bro, I think taking the watch was an audible. I don't think we planned that. I don't think we spoke about that. I just thought it was a real good idea at the time to lift his watch.
So thoughts on this Kevin Nash in-ring that was next? I popped at a lot of the things he said. What happened to our sweet old wrestling show? Where's the dog when you need him? The dog was a guy that was on, in the couple of months that you had gone home, and it was ridiculous. And then he says, he starts talking about you. He says that him and Scott Hall saved you from Shawn Michaels in the WWF on several occasions. And then we have the debut of Mike Awesome. And this is a strange situation for those that, don't remember.
Let's back up. Let's back up. Let's back up. Bro, everybody knows I had a love-hate relationship with Shawn Michaels, which was very successful. And obviously, bro, Shawn came on this show. Bro, I had a conversation with Shawn before he started working, back at the WWE again. And I literally cried on the phone and I broke down because I wanted to tell Shawn he was the best I ever worked with. And it meant a lot for me to tell him that. So despite all the peaks and valleys, trials and tribulations, bro, he was the best I ever worked with. And our working relationship worked. Okay, bro? Here was the interesting thing with what Kevin said. I can remember 2 occasions, bro, where Shawn wanted to kill me and, like, physically threatened me in kind of a backhanded way. Not I'm going to kick you. It wasn't that way, but he was getting his message across like, bro, I want to kick your ass right now. And I can remember it happening twice, bro. It really did. The first time is when, he showed up, he was out, whether he was injured or he wasn't written into TV. We had the next WrestleMania planned. He got in, he came in and he just started stirring shit up, and he got in Austin's head and he changed the plans for WrestleMania. And I went to Hunter and I cut a promo on Shawn to Hunter, knowing damn well Hunter was going to tell Shawn, and then Shawn got in my face. That was the first time. The second time, bro, was when I brought Shawn in for a TV. and we wound up not using them. Something happened and we didn't use them, bro. He wanted to kill me. But here's the thing that's a little kabuki-ish to me. I don't think Scott and Kevin were there for either one of those times. I think they're already in WCW. So, like, I don't know, bro. Who knows? Maybe Sean called them and said, I want to kill this Russo guy, F this Russo guy, blah, 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 blah. And they talked him down. I don't know if that happened, but the way my memory serves me, when those incidents happened, those guys had already gone to WCW. But, I mean, Kevin was right in what he was saying, but I don't think those guys were physically there when both of those situations happened. But I could be wrong. But so now you're talking about Mike Awesome.
Yeah, and this was very odd at the time. Mike Awesome was the current ECW champion when he debuted on this show. He had the ECW belt. And I guess he told nobody. There was a lot of stories. He kind of, went in the night, went to WCW, still the champ, pissed off a lot of people at ECW. It ended up leading to, this may have been the only time this ever happened, WWF sent Taz to ECW to beat Awesome for the belt. So a WWF guy beat a WCW guy on ECW TV, which was, that was a big deal for a lot of the fans back then. Do you remember this whole situation with Mike Awesome?
All I remember, bro, is it took a lot of convincing to bring him in. He was really, really on the fence, and I think it's because he was, the ECW champion. And of course, Eric and I, our first night, we wanted to do everything big. This was going to be a big coup. So we really, really, really had to spend a lot of time trying to convince him to come over. I remember, getting on the phone with him and having to do a lot of convincing. But yeah, bro, it really came down to the wire whether he was going to do it or not. And, I'm happy that he did. I was a big fan of Mike Awesome.
Let me ask you this, because Bischoff did this with Medusa with the belt. Was he trying to get Awesome to bring the ECW belt?
I don't think so, bro. I don't think we were looking to belittle ECW in any way. I don't think that was it at all. I think it was just the shock of the ECW champion showing up at WCW. That's what we were really looking for.
So next we have the white Hummer, and Bischoff's driving it. Did you know what was going on with this? Because this was like a plot hole that never was covered from the previous year. Who was driving the white Hummer that was crashing into everybody? And like Kevin Nash, I think, got taken out by the white Hummer. We never found out, but lo and behold, you guys close the storyline here. Eric Bischoff's driving the white Hummer. Do you remember anything about this, or was this all Eric?
I don't remember it, bro. I would have never known anything about the white Hummer. I mean, I wasn't watching WCW. I was too busy, writing, WWE. I wouldn't have had a clue. So, I mean, because of that, I'm sure this would have been 100% Eric's idea and Eric's story, and Eric knowing damn well like he never really followed up with it and wanting to put a period at the end of the sentence, because I wouldn't have known what that white Hummer story was.
But, again, this is kind of what we talked about on the part one of this. Here's Kidman needing a vehicle to take out. He needs Eric Bischoff in a Hummer to take out Hogan. He's just not beating up Hogan as a smaller guy. So then he's on the stretcher, in Kidman, for the first time, we see the spray paint of NB, in red for the new blood. How'd the new blood develop? Was that always the plan? We're going to call these guys this, or was it kind of like organic?
Bro, the plan was it was going to be the new blood. It was organic. It became the new blood against the Millionaires Club. Bro, the original premise was, bro, the Millionaires Club were going to be the heels. They were going to be the guys. We were going with the story that didn't want to pass the torch to the younger generation. That was going to be the story. The fans, bro, made the Millionaires Club the baby faces. They felt sorry. They felt sorry for the veterans, and that these new punk guys were coming in, trying to, end their careers and take over. And so the fans rewrote the story that we had to go with at that point. And at that point going forward, the Millionaires Club were the baby faces and the New Blood were the heels. When we originally wrote it, it was supposed to be the other way around. But, bro, you know, when you look at this Hummer slamming into the limo numerous times, the thing I wrote here is, when's the last time you saw something like that on WWE, bro? You know, again, it's a different time. Okay, like, so it's a different time, so we can't do stunts like that anymore. I mean, I guess the last one you would probably say is when Strowman beat up Reigns backstage and he turned the ambulance over. But, I mean, my God, bro, if you get something like that twice a year today, it's a lot. It's a lot, bro. They don't do anything like that anymore, bro.
Do you remember with Hogan, was there any issues with working with Billy Kidman, especially after, you know, what he said on the podcast?
Big time, bro. He was not going to put Kidman over. I mean, absolutely not. No freaking way in hell, bro. No. And bro, I didn't know that going in. Like, maybe Eric knew it, but I didn't know it going in. I thought we were going to be able to write any story that we wanted, but he made it clear Kidman was not in his league, and there was no way in hell he was going to put Billy Kidman over.
All right, so DDP versus Sting. Before we talk about what actually happened, do you remember, like, okay, DDP is going to win here. So you're setting up your main event of this first pay-per-view, which is this week, which is DDP versus Jarrett. Do you remember at all, like, you know, why was that the option for the main event that week of the first pay-per-view, or what the thought process was going into that?
Oh God, bro. I really can't tell you. I mean, maybe part of it was like match quality. You know what I mean? We knew Jarrett and Paige would be a good match. I can't remember the specifics of how we came to this. I really can't.
So we got Jeff Jarrett on commentary, because he faces the winner at Spring Stampede, and Vampiro ends up coming out, attacking Sting, breaking up the Brothers in Paint, who they've, you know, been tagging with, and DDP gets the win. And then this guitar shot on Kimberly, I want you to talk about that, because, man, she took it in a rough spot too, like right on the top of the head, kind of going around to the back of the head, and you can tell she was trying to make sure, you know, nothing hit her face and stuff. But man, that's how'd that all go about with Kimberly taking a guitar?
Let me explain to everybody Jeff Jarrett's guitar. Okay, bro. First of all, it was what they call balsa wood. And balsa wood, bro, like, if you breathe on it, it breaks. You know, it's the weakest wood available. But we went further than that, bro. Basically, Jeff had his guitar made out of balsa wood. The guitar was separated, bro. So the bottom of the guitar was taken off, okay, bro, and then glued back on. So you had balsa wood, bro. You had the guitar already separated and then glued back on, okay, bro? Bro, I had to take Jeff's guitar shot, and what you want to do, bro, is you want to take it, if you're watching on the Realm Network, I'm showing you, but, bro, you want to take it right here on your crown. You know, this is the hardest part of your head. This is where you want to take the impact, okay, bro? That's where you want to take it. You know, when I had to take the guitar shot, you know, Jeff had to walk me through it and show me where to take it, you know? Well, bro, maybe she really was afraid of getting hit in the face because, bro, she put her head down and literally gave Jeff the soft spot of her head, bro. I mean, you know, when the baby's got that soft spot, that's what she gave him. I mean, her head was down. He didn't catch her in the crown, bro. He hit her in the top of the head. Bro, she went to the hospital that night. She was concussed that night. And I remember, bro, because the next day, freaking Paige was livid, you know, and Paige came looking for me. You know what I mean? And I remember freaking Kimberly, you know, was livid. So, like, there was a lot of heat over that guitar shot. And, bro, it's not a gimme. I mean, bro, I remember even when I took the guitar shot from Jeff on my crown, I mean, Jeff, I'm not kidding you, bro. I had a headache the rest of the night. The rest of the night, I had a freaking headache. So, the back of the head, I mean, it was like in the worst spot. I could understand Kimberly being afraid to get hit in the face. I totally get it. I don't know, bro. Hindsight being 2020 today, maybe like we wouldn't have wrote that spot in now. You know what I mean? But like I said, bro, when it's balsa wood, you're separating the guitar, you're gluing it back on. I mean, you're taking all the precautions in the world for somebody not to get hurt. And bro, come on, I was there for hundreds of Jeff's guitar shots. And this is really like the only time I really remember somebody getting hurt. But she definitely got concussed and had to go to the emergency room that night.
So when you're writing something like this, obviously Kimberly, not a worker, you want, to take the guitar shot. Is this something you're calling her when you and Eric are writing this script, or do you show up that day and ask her to take it? You know what I mean? Like,
nah, bro. I'm positive that the protocol probably was prior to the show. I'm sure Eric called Paige because Eric had a relationship with Paige and Kimberly. So I'm sure Eric called Paige and said, listen, this is what we really want to do. And that's bad too, bro, because the more time you have to think about something, the more time you have to screw it up. And, and I guarantee you, Kimberly probably didn't want to do it. First of all, bro, let me make one thing clear. If she said she didn't want to do it, we wouldn't have done it. But she probably didn't want to do it and didn't say anything. So she was probably building this up in her head. And then, bro, when you do that, you're going to get hurt. I mean, you're going to get hurt. And I mean, that's exactly what happened.
You and Ed had a lot of issues with standard and practices in your first 3 months, rejecting stuff. How did this was this a fight, like a guy hitting a woman with a guitar? Do you remember?
No.
Was this an issue?
I don't remember. I don't remember it being an issue at all, bro. I really don't. I mean, if it was an issue, it wouldn't have happened.
It seemed like maybe more sexual stuff than violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe because, bro, it was done accidentally. It was like an accident. And bro, it was even back then with Turner. It wasn't more sexual. It was more politically correct. You had to be politically correct with everything you did, bro. That was the most important thing, the standards and practices.
So after that, we go to commercial. We come back. It's kind of like an extended episode. Shivani even mentioned we got extended time on TNT. You and Eric send Jeff Jarrett back out. He cuts a promo. DDP comes out for revenge. Then Scott Steiner comes out, and Luger, Buff, Vampiro. Everybody comes out. It's a big schmoz. You and Eric are standing on the stage watching this, and Bret Hart walks out and looks at you guys and goes off the air.
Well, bro, it's a different time today, so we can't have cliffhangers anymore. You know what I mean, bro? You can't do that anymore. In 2017, Bret wouldn't have been allowed to come out on the stage because it's a different time. But bro, that's the thing. It's freaking nonstop. It's nonstop. What were the ratings of this show, bro, for the two companies?
All right, well, let's set the table. 2 weeks prior to this, which, if I remember correctly, because I couldn't find the recap, was the final actual Nitro, okay? 2 weeks prior. And Raw had a 6.6, and Nitro had a 2.6, okay?
Wow.
1 week before, if I'm remembering this correctly, and I'm sure somebody will correct me on Twitter if I'm wrong, I believe there was no new shows that week. I think Tony Schiavone and Mark Madden sat down and did like a preview of what's to come with Bischoff and Russo, and they went through everything. And I think it was kind of like a recap preview episode. There was no Nitro. So that night, Raw did a 6.4 and Nitro did a 1.8. This week, this episode, Raw did a 6.2 and Nitro did a 3.1.
Bro, do you know last night's Raw rating was under a 2? These two shows combined did a 9.3, bro.
I know.
And you're gonna say, oh, it was because of social media. Bro, do you know we're talking about almost five times the audience? Almost 5 times the audience, bro.
Well, and what makes it worse, it's really like 5 times the percentage, because like today's rating, people like to say, oh, everybody's online, blah, 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 the cord cutters. Well, from the research I've done, and I'm not saying this is accurate, but everything I've read online, if you don't have a TV, if you don't have cable or whatever, you don't factor into the rating. The rating's a percentage of the people that get it. So the cord cutters and things of that nature, like, they don't factor into the rating because they don't have it. So that doesn't affect the low rating if everything I read is correct on that. So, you know, when you have a 9.6 combined of the people watching TV compared to a 2 well, it was under a 2, whatever it was, 2.3 million people. It's like, where did the people go, man? Where'd they go? You know, we're not going to count the 1.8 because that was a weird week. There wasn't an episode, but you had talked about this before. You and Ed had got up to, you know, the mid threes, you know, 3.3, 3.5, something like that by the time your 3-month run ended. The last episode, actual Nitro, before you guys came back, was back down to a 2.6. You've said before, we lost the audience.
Yep.
Like, did you think there was any shot in hell of getting any of those people back?
No, I really didn't, bro. They got screwed too many times. They got screwed too many times. I really did not. Like I said, bro, I had to go back that second time to secure my paycheck. Period. End of story. Like me trying to get the ratings up and me trying to be that was over. That was done. The WCW killed that, bro. When I went home, and Kevin said it in his promo, where's the dog when you need him? Those 3 months I went home, they freaking killed it, bro. Killed it. So, you know, my dream of going there, doing what I wanted to do, that was out the window. When I went back with Eric, I just wanted to secure that my paycheck was going to be in the mailbox every 2 weeks. That's all. Of course, bro, I was going to give the same effort. And I was going to try as hard as I always did. But I already knew, you know, as they say, bro, I already knew they killed the territory. I already knew that they did it. And I knew there was no way we were getting those people back. No way, bro. Just no way.
Do you remember any feedback, you know, after this episode ended?
Bro, what I remember is at both companies, everybody was always excited because everybody was a part of it, bro. You know, everybody was on the show. Everybody had their role. Everybody was involved. And, you know, that's, you know, when you show up for work, you don't want to sit around in the back, especially when you're a wrestler for a living. You want to be involved. You want to feel like you're part of the company, like you're part of the product. And that's one thing, bro. No matter where I went, everybody was freaking involved. You know, it was a little different at TNA, bro, because of budgets. And they couldn't afford to have 20 guys on the show. So you literally would have to keep guys off of the show because TNA couldn't pay them. But you never had that problem at WCW and WWE. And, you know, we got everybody on the show and everybody meant something. That's it, everybody. That's it for the brand. We hope we lowered your IQ. I don't know about you, Jeff. I feel dumber. You?
I'm definitely dumber.
I'm definitely
I'm 0.7
everybody
than I was yesterday.
No doubt about it. We will see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.